Hello, everyone. I hope you're really excited right now with the Postman Student Summit. So we'll be starting now. Okay, Bhumika, I can see your question. We'll start just now. All right. So first of all, I welcome you all here. And we are here for a basic session on APIs and with Postman. The aim is to improve API literacy around the world. So you don't need any prior knowledge about APIs for this particular workshop. And we'll also be doing a hands-on session. So for your better understanding. So I'll recommend if you keep a laptop handy and then we can start. All right. So first of all, let me start by introducing myself. Okay. So I am Sumana Basu, a pre-final year student doing my bachelor's in computer science and engineering from National Institute of Technology, Rourkela. I am a Postman student leader and I'm very passionate about community building. I enjoy creating web applications that live on the internet and can be accessed by anyone. So if you have any queries, even after the workshop, you can ask me on the Discord channel, or I can also share my LinkedIn link if you want, and you feel free to ask me anything. Okay, so let's see what we'll be doing today. So today you are on a mission. You're hired as a librarian for library, which uses APIs to manage their books. Pretty advanced library, right? So you will have to learn about APIs so that you can manage the library effectively, right? So after this workshop, you will be able to successfully complete this mission. So let's get started and see what we are going to learn. Today, we are going to go over an introduction to APIs and Postman. Then we'll talk about requesting and receiving data from an API, and we'll try some things out after that. Also, I will let you know how you can get some really cool swags from Postman. So stay tuned till the end for that. And then we'll go over some follow-up resources so that you can continue learning even after the session. And then at the end, we'll have a Q&A sessions for any doubts that you might have. So what is an API and why should we use it? We're doing pretty okay without even knowing about it, right? But actually, no, we're using it everywhere. Application programming interfaces, or APIs, allow services to communicate with each other. The wonderful thing about how development works today is that you don't have to build everything from scratch. You can just pick out things from here and there and make it your own. Now, because there's so many companies that are using APIs, it's not going anywhere anytime soon. So it's better that we learn a bit about it and educate as many people as possible. Now, sometimes we need to get a data from a service like Google or Facebook. Since we don't have access to those companies' databases or their code bases, what they do is they create APIs for us. And so even if we are a developer or a non-developer, we can simply use those API without even knowing what a single code of line was behind the scenes. So now I'll explain you, give you a better understanding of what API is with a very real life example. So we can think of an API as a waiter at a restaurant. Imagine you go to your favorite restaurant and you want to order something. You, in this case, are the client, right? And then what do? You go at the restaurant, then you ask for some food or you order something, whatever your favorite dish is, right? And then the waiter goes and tells the chef what you want. Now, after some time, you'll wait for some time. And then after that, the waiter will either come with your food order, or he might tell you that the restaurant is not serving what you ordered, right? So in any case, the waiter serves as a mediator between you and the chef. And that's exactly what APIs do between clients and services. So I know now you'll ask me, how do APIs do that for clients and services? So let me convert this example in a very technical format so you can understand what I mean. Now here, the person who has ordered the food is the client. The waiter is an API, and the server is the chef who is actually cooking up what you need and giving you back the actual response. So now you might ask, what are the types of API or which APIs are available? Is there an API for everything? Well, yes, there is an API for literally everything, be it Spotify, Google, Facebook, everything. So you might as well get your hands dirty in them, right? So if you see the slide, you can see two pictures over here. The picture on the left, which is written in curl command line, this is how APIs were used or written before Postman came in the picture. Of course, as you can see, it was very difficult to use and understand, especially for a beginner. But with Postman, you can see how the UI is so much better, and most of the things can be done using simply a click of a button. Postman allows you to accomplish the same thing which curl command line did, with many more features like saving, grouping, visualizing, sharing requests and responses, etc. Postman has tools for building, testing, and documenting APIs. So, what is Postman? Postman is a collaborative API development platform that simplifies creating, using, and testing APIs with a very, very simple UI. Who uses it? More than 98% of Fortune 500 companies uses Postman for their API development. And as you can see on the screen, companies like PayPal, Philips also use Postman in their development. So now that we've seen what an API is, let's talk about requesting and receiving data with one. A client is the entity that makes a request to a server. An example of a client can be a web browser like Google Chrome. A server controls resources and services. So an API is the interface that exposes these resources and services to the clients in a network. The client can interact with an API by making requests over the network to the API. The API will then evaluate the request, perform the required operations, maybe interact with the database or other APIs, then send back the response to the client. Postman is a client that allows you to make requests and view responses from servers. Requests are how we communicate with an API. You need three things to make an API request: the method, the URL, and a path. These elements let the API know what kind of request you're making and where to send the request. We'll discuss each of them in detail and you'll get a better understanding of it in the hands-on. So when we make an API request, we specify what we want out of that interaction with an HTTP method. Methods, you can say, are like verbs, they're actions. They let the client, like Postman, know what you want out of this request, like what you want the API to do. So there's a lot of methods out there, but the ones we'll use today are the most commonly used ones. So there are four or five, you can say. They're get, post, put, patch, and delete. In Postman, by default, the first method is get. If you click the arrow, you can see the rest of the methods as well. Now you can see that in this table, I have put and patch both for updating information. So why will we make the same thing twice, right? But actually, there's a slight difference. Patch is for updating partial data of a record. Say in a whole page, you just want to change one single thing, then you use patch. But put is used for completely overwriting the existing data. So the second thing while making requests was address or endpoints. Endpoint is where your message for the API is delivered, and the path is where your request can be heard. Now, what do I mean? Let's take this example. In this example, google.com is our endpoint. whatever request we make will be sent to Google. The path in this example is search. So what I mean by this is, if I were to make a GET request with this endpoint and the path, that is google.com/search, I would be getting back the search page of Google. But now, when you make an API call with a GET method, which is for retrieving information, you take the entire URL address and you get everything from it, starting from the first thing that is written over there till the end. Now, this might be pretty overwhelming, getting the entire page, and you need some just particular data, then it's useless for you, right? So in that case, we use parameters. Parameters specify the response, so you can get the specific data you're looking for. For example, if I just want the college name from my LinkedIn profile, now I can simply put a parameter to return only that information. We can have two types of parameters. Query parameters start with a question mark, and path parameters are embedded in the URL itself. How these two work, we'll look at it in the hands-on session. Okay. There's one question: is the endpoint www.google.com part of the URL? Yes, that is part of the URL. And URL is made of three things: method, endpoint, and path. So endpoint is the middle part of the URL to where we're sending the request. Okay. Regarding an example for put and patch, we will be doing that in the hands-on session, so don't worry about it. Okay. Now, whatever questions you have, you can keep typing in the chat section and I'll take them up at the end. All right. So a request can include headers that provide additional metadata about the request to the server. So sometimes APIs require you to send particular headers or information that need not be shown in the URL. Unlike how parameters are shown in the URL itself, they're added in the URL as a key value pair. So it's common practice to send some authorization data like access tokens and such in the header. So like suppose you log in somewhere and there is a key you get so that the website knows that you're logged in that place. So that key, if that is passed in the URL, anyone can take that and anyone can use it. So it can become vulnerable. That is why we use this kind of things, and we use it in the header. We send the key in the header. Finally, there's body. I like to call body as the gold mine because that is where the main data is located. And now again, data is no less than a gold, right? So it becomes a gold mine. This is mainly used for post or put methods when you need to specify the data you need to send with a request. Typically, we send a JSON object in the body, but there are many other forms. You can send it in any form. Okay, so we went over how to set up API requests and send them via Postman. Now, when you send an API call, you will also receive a response. This includes status codes and any headers that were sent, like I talked about the authorization key, and maybe also whatever information you get back through body. So you've probably seen a 404 error before, right? What does it mean? We always get 404 not found if we type a wrong URL or something, right? So these are some common status codes, and so that you know what your request was, like if it was a success or if there was some error, you can understand through these status codes. But you can simply get the rough meaning of it through the first digit. For example, anything starting with 2 means everything went all right, everything was a success. Similarly, if anything starts with 4, you have to understand that you made some error. And if anything starts with 5, that means there was nothing wrong done by your side. It was the server's error. So, but again, you have to remember all these, right? So it can be difficult. But here's another benefit of Postman. You don't have to memorize any of these. Postman will explain the codes to you while sending back the response. So they'll send you 200 OK. And if you hover over it, you'll get the entire explanation of what it is. Okay, so enough of theory. let's go and talk deeply about the library API on which we'll be doing the hands-on session today. Okay, so what are we going to do? We are going to learn how to use the library API. And as you have been hired at a library that uses an API to manage a book, you should know how to do that. So let me show you the demo of how the API works, and then you can do it along with me and we can have a proper hands-on session. So I would like all of you to go to this link. This is the workspace of Postman Classroom program. And here is what we'll be doing. All right. Just a second, I'll also go there. All right. So this is how the whole Postman website looks like. This is where we work, create APIs, test APIs, do everything. So I want all of you to go to this link so that we can together do this. And if you face any problem, you can ask me at that time only. And so this is how it looks. We also have an app version. There's a desktop app. If you prefer that, you can also download it for further use. But right now we are in the web version, and this is how it looks. So you can see here are collections. What are collections? Collections are like folders. So we are going to start with API 101, as this is a basic session. Once you open the link, you might see something like this. So what I want you to do is click on API 101, API fundamentals. This is what we'll be using today and what we'll be learning today. Now, this is a public workspace. This is visible to everyone. So if we want to practice something on our own, make some requests and everything, we might spoil this, right? Which is why what we can do is we can create a copy of this entire folder or collection in our workspace so that whatever changes we make are in our workspace only. They're not reflected over here and nothing gets spoiled. So for that, we have a fork button over here. It kind of looks like a fork as well. So what I want you all to do is click on this fork button. And here you can give any name. I can give it API 101, and you can give any name, whatever you want. And make sure you select this as my workspace because you'll be easily able to find it then. All right. I have a separate workspace, but if you want, you can create a new workspace or you can save it in my workspace. So I hope everyone is here. If you are here, just react or send me a chat saying yes or whatever, so that I know that you all have reached this part. All right, great. So now, okay, Pranav is saying, can you please wait a while? All right, no problem. I'll wait. Till then, who all are here, you can also try out one thing. You can go to API 101, click here again. And from the right side, you'll see many buttons over here. Click on the second one called comments. And here you can type anything, like you can say where you're from. So you can say, I am from West Bengal or whatever. You can type it here and just add a comment. So what this is for is that you can collaboratively work in Postman. Like you can share your views, you can see whatever errors are there, and you can work together as a team. So this is another benefit of Postman. So this is what you can do till then we are waiting. All right, for people who are stuck somewhere, what I want you to do is go to this link. I'll share, hold on. Yeah, I'll share this link. This is directly for creating the fork. If you click on this link, you'll directly go on this fork page. Okay, Vishal, I see you've asked, can you explain what the other components in the Postman UI used for? We will be seeing a lot of features right now as we'll be going through the hands-on session. After that, if you have any other doubt, you can ask me. All right, so if everyone has reached this page, now let's fork it and make a copy of this entire thing in our workspace. So we'll simply click here, fork collection. All right, there's some issue, just a second. Okay, I'll do this again. Create fork. I'll name this maybe 7th August, just today's date. Okay, I'll just explain it one last time. You can all go to this link, sign in, and then write any fork label here and just fork the collection. All right, and now you'll see something like this. Again, you'll see API 101 fundamentals, and the whole screen is here, and this is your own. Now, whatever you changes make here, you will not get, anything will not be reflected on the main folder. Everything here will be right here only. Okay, I'll just share this once again. Just a second. All right, this is the link. Yes, Ayush, any change you make here will be for your folder only after you have forked it. All right, so let's start now. Now, first thing, very important thing, whenever you start working on some pre-built API, you should check its documentation because everything you need is right there. So how do you view a documentation? You hover over this collection, API 101 fundamentals, okay, and you'll see 3 dots over here at the corner. Click on them and you will see an option called view documentation. So what do? Hover over this, click on the 3 dots and click on view documentation. And here you can see detailed explanation about everything, how you can make requests, everything is right here. So we will be using this documentation a lot because this is how you should usually work when you approach any new API. So let's start with making requests and everything. So I'll create a folder right here. I'll again hover and add folder. Let's call this folder API 101. Okay, so you can see a folder is created right here. And I'll just open this folder. Now I'll create a new request in it. So let me start with get request, which was the first one we saw, which is retrieving information or getting some information from the API. So I'll click again on the 3 dots over here, but in the API 101 folder or whatever name you've given, it's completely up to you. Okay, so we click on add request over here. And as I said, by default, it is get method only. So we don't need to change that. But if you want to, you can just simply click on this and you can see all the get methods. Now let me name this as getting books, or that completely depends on you, whatever you want to keep. I have kept it getting books because in a library, we'll be keeping it as getting books, right? We'll try to get all the books in the library. Now, I don't know how to get the books. I have no idea about what the command is. So what will I do? I'll take the help from the documentation. Now, so how do I go to the documentation? Let's see that once more. We'll go to this folder, hover over it, and click on the 3 dots and click on view documentation. Okay, Ritika, after proceeding, you will see a screen like this. What I want you to do is hover over the collection that you have made and click on view documentation. All right. So now, as you can see, we'll go a bit down and let's see what there is. So first thing we see over here is there is a base URL given. Now I told you, whenever we are sending a request, we send the method that is get. Then we have the endpoint, which is the base URL, that is this one. And then we have a path. So what we can do is we can simply copy the base URL from here and let's enter it in the request URL. Now let me hit send, and this is what I get. But there are many ways in Postman. You can actually see what exactly data you've got. Like there is pretty, so you see it like this, like a JSON object. Then there is raw, and then there's preview and visualize. Visualize you have to sometimes set up for that, but these are views so that you can actually see it beautifully. And if you want to see it raw, then you can see it raw. So this is also another good feature about Postman. Now we got this, that welcome to the library, and it says, you can read it in this format as well, try get/books to get a list of books. So what this is saying is that you can add this as a path /books, and then you'll get a list of all the books. So let's try that. I'll copy this and paste this, or you can type it as well and hit enter. All right. Now, if you go to pretty, you'll see a list of all the books. I can show it in a bigger view. You can see a list of all books. And here you go. There's the title, author, ID, genre, year published, checkout, created at, everything. All the details are given. Okay, I can see a lot of people are having error with forking. So I'll just share the link again. All right. So I'll go to the fork location and exactly send you that. All right. So if anyone is facing any issue, just go to this link, and then whatever your label is, give a label, choose my workspace from here and click on fork collection. And you'll be right here. All right. So the last step, Saksham, you asked me to repeat. So what I did was, first I had just entered this endpoint. With that, I was getting welcome to the library API and try /books to get all the books. So that's what I did. I entered a path so that it takes me to that particular portion of the API, which was /books. And if I add /books here and I hit enter, then this is what I get. I get the title, author, ID, genre, everything. And you can see of all the books, I have it here, all the books in the library. There's a huge stock. All right. So I hope everything is clear till now. So till now, I've just done very simple things. I created a folder, made a GET request. GET request, how did I make it? Click on the 3 dots and add request. All right. Then when I went to the GET request, I added the base URL, which I found from the documentation. And I also added /books to get all the books. All right. Okay. So this is it. All right. Someone is facing an issue. Okay, Ritika, this is a request I have created right now by clicking on the 3 dots and adding a request. And then I named it Getting Books. You can name it something else as well. All right. So this is our first request. You understood how to retrieve information. Now, suppose I want the details of only one book. I'm not interested in this whole list. I don't want to search for all this. So I can use a lot of parameters, and I can search by ID, title, author with every field. Now, how do we search? Now let's, again, whenever we are stuck, we get back to the documentation. Now let's go a bit down. So we can see here, it says request params. Params is parameters. Now, if you use search, you can get the author and title. You can search by the author and title. Similarly, if you search by checked out, you'll get if that book is checked out or not. And similarly for other fields that it is there. You can also search by the ID of the book. So let's try all of these out. We'll go back to the GET request we made, but make sure you continuously keep saving the request so that none of your progress is lost. So you can just save by clicking over here or click on Control S. Now, let's say let's select a book. Let's select this first one. Okay, I want just this one. All right. So I can add a query parameter. How can I add that? You can see it's written query parameter and a key and a value. So in key, I can type search. All right. And as I showed you in the documentation, searches by title or author. So let me copy and paste this title over here and let's see what we get as a result. All right. So you can see the URL is also automatically updated when you enter it here. So you don't have to worry about the URL. You can just simply keep adding key and value pairs over here. So it's very easily maintained in Postman. Now let's hit send and you'll see we just get this one book, right? So all other books are not here. We just get this one book because we have searched according to this. We can also search by author, like if I select the same book and instead of the title, I use the author over here, I will be able to get again that very book. And as I told you that in Postman, you can see the status code and you don't have to remember anything. Here we have the status code. So if I hover over it, you can also see what it actually means. Like 200 OK is the standard response for successful. Okay. So this is how we check if our request was successful or not. If you would have gotten any error, there probably would have been a status code like 404 or 401, anything like that. All right. Now, you can also search this via ID. As I said, like this is an auto-generated ID that each book gets. Whenever a book is created, the API itself creates an auto-generated ID. So we can search by that also. But for that, we will be using, I'll again go back to the documentation. We'll use books/:ID. All right. So instead of this entire thing, we'll write /:and ID. So you can see a path variable is created over here with the key as ID. Now, why didn't we use the query parameter? Because we don't want to show others what our ID was, right? So we'll just simply write :ID here and we'll add the variable, whatever the value of the ID that we are going to search over here in the value section. So let's again use the same book and we'll copy the ID from here and let's paste it. Now let's again hit send and there you go. We again get that book with all the details because it has the same ID. All right. So this is how pretty much you can use GET requests. You can filter the data out. You can get all the data back. So we saw three things till now. First was just writing /books and getting all the books. And if you want to use a query parameter like search or checked out or anything like that, search by that, then you can use a query parameter. And if you want to search by ID, we use a path variable. Again, I'll repeat, for path variable, you use :and ID so that you don't have to attach the ID in the URL itself. Because when we were using query parameters, it was directly getting embedded in the URL. Now, so we have done this, we have done the GET request. So now when we see there are 4 basic methods, 4 types of things that we have to do, that is retrieving data, adding data, updating and deleting data. Now, what we can do is we have done the GET request. That means we have done the retrieving part of the API, right? So let's try out the next thing, which can be how to add a data. All right. So what we can do is we'll hit save. We have already hit save, but if you haven't, just hit save. And we will click on these 3 dots again, whatever folder you have created, and we can add request. All right. Now we can name this as add books because we'll be adding books in it. Okay. Now we'll click on this get method and click on post. Okay. Post is used to add information. So that is why we'll be using post method over here, as we'll be adding information or adding a book record into the library. Okay, so I can see a lot of questions here. Don't worry, I'll take them all up in the Q&A session. Till then, just bear with me and try to understand where I'm going. Okay, so let's start with the second request, which is the post request. For that, again, of course, I don't know what to do, how to do it, anything. So what will I do? I'll go back to the documentation. I'll go to API 101, API fundamentals, and now we'll see post request. Okay. So here we can just, it again gives us an ID. All right. So we can just copy this entire URL and paste it in the post request. Now let's try hitting send. If you hit send, you get a 415 error, which is an unsupported media type, and you get a lot of errors over here. Okay. So that means you've made some mistake. Now, what can that mistake be? The issue was that we haven't told what to add, like what is the name of the new book or what is the author and everything. We haven't told that, right? So we have to pass some data through the body. Now, about how to give the information and how to pass the information to body, we'll again have a look in the API documentation. Here, you can see there's an entire example of how you can pass the data. All right. So it says go to body, raw, and then JSON, because you can use other formats. But in this case, in this API, we will be using the JSON format to send data to the API. So what we can do is we can simply copy this entire thing. And okay. Yeah. So how you can copy, either you can select this whole thing and click Control C, or you can simply use this icon over here to copy. Now let's go back to post. And here you can go to body. As I said over here, it said body, raw, JSON. Just remember this, body, raw, JSON. So we'll go back to the request, the post request here, and we'll go body, click on body over here, and then select the raw. And here you will see a drop down, select JSON from here. Again, what do we have to do? Select body, raw, and then JSON. This is not specific for all APIs. Every API has different types of input, but in this particular case, we'll be using JSON. Now, let me simply just paste the data I copied from here. This data I got from this documentation. This tells me how the data should be inputted. But if I simply add this one to the data, this record is already there. So there's no point, right? So let me create a new book. Let me give this a new name, maybe say API 101. You can name your favorite book over here. I can change the author name as well. And then maybe I can write technology, and I'll change the year published to 2021. All right, this is just very random. You can write your favorite book, you can write some random name, anything. Okay, so this is how we can add the body to the post request. So I'll repeat once again from the starting of the post request. First of all, let me save this. Now, another feature you see of Postman here is that you can directly see what kind of request it is over here. Like there's a get request and a post request. So you don't even have to open the request, and you'll understand that, okay, this is for getting information and this is for adding information. Now, once you've opened the post request, you add the URL, which we got from the documentation. Again, always follow the documentation. We got the URL from here. And then we had to add a body so that we can send that particular data to the API. All right. So for that, we went to body, raw, and JSON and pasted this entire thing, because this gives us a format of what we want. All right. So we go back to the request, and here we went to body. First of all, it was looking like this. Then we went to body, and then we went to raw, and then we clicked on JSON. And then we pasted this entire thing and changed up some values. You can change it to your own name and change it, everything like that. Okay. All right. Mohit, for the documentation, just click on the main folder that you forked, and there are 3 dots right beside it, and click on view documentation over here. All right. I hope the other people got it who didn't understand what post was. Yeah. Yes. All right. Okay, yes, Jen, right. So params are mainly for the request and body is for adding things, whatever data we want to send to the API so that it stores it in their database. All right. So now that we have done this, let's try and hit send and let's see what happens. And we get a status code of 201 created. That means as it starts with 2, it means everything was a success. And the message is also okay. Message. What is this message? It's like a response we get back from the API that everything was successful and you successfully created a book. Now, how do we check if that book is there? All right. So what we can do is we'll go back to this get request that we made and we'll get back all the books. All right. Let's hit send. And you can see there are a lot of books over here. I can see many of you have also sent it. Like this is one, then there's API 101, there's Iro, Costas. I don't know if I'm spelling your name properly or not. And there are a lot of people who have done it, right? Now, there's Harry Potter as well. That's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah. Ayush, after copy pasting that JSON, just hit send. Whatever you want to change in that information, like you want to add your name or something, just do that and then hit send. Okay. So you can see all this. Akshay is getting a conflict message. Okay, just check the endpoint and the get request and try hitting send. Maybe it's due to the overflow or something. You can just try that again. Okay. So you can see a lot of people have sent. I can see Devyani, Saksham, Charu, Sangita, a lot of people. Oh, this is mine as well here. All right. So if you want to check if yours is here or not, you can simply just, I'll repeat this again. You can add a query parameter. All right. You can write search over here and whatever your name of the book was or what your author was, like I'll write Sumana because I was the author, and we hit send. Okay, so some people have written my name as well, so those queries are also coming, but you can see there are a lot of books over here. So now you can see each one has a separate ID created as well. This is an auto-generated ID created for each one. If you see, all of them are different, completely different. All right. So this way also you can just simply add the ID also and you can check if your book is there or not. Okay. I think someone is getting an error. Okay. Satya Devi. So, okay, I'll repeat how to add the book. I think some people are facing an error in it. Okay, so first of all, let me save this. And for the people who are facing an issue, I'll just explain this again. Okay, so here is the post request that I had created. First thing I did was add the URL, which I got from here. Okay, the documentation, which is simply the endpoint and /books. After that, people who are getting unsupported media type text or plain, that you're getting because you haven't entered the body data here. All right. So first of all, make sure you've changed the method to post. Okay. And you have added this URL. And then you go to body, raw, and then JSON. All right. Now just simply copy this entire thing. Make sure it is the exact same format, because if you make an error over here, you'll get an error definitely. Okay. So select this whole thing and copy it over here and make whatever changes you want. Like you can change the name of the book, the author, genre, year published, everything. This you can do, and then just simply hit send and you'll get a success. All right. So this is how it is. And if you got the success here, then you can check it in the get request. All right. So this was pretty much, I think, and you all were facing a bit of issues, but I think it's fine now. Okay, so we have done 2 requests. So we're halfway there. We have done get and post. The 2 things that are left are updating information and deleting information. So let's take a small break over here so that we can just refresh ourselves and then continue. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll go back to the quiz for what you guys were waiting. And okay, I can see Deepak did some stretching. Great. All right. Um, okay. So we will be playing this quiz on Kahoot. Kahoot is a website. So if you have your mobile devices or on your laptop, anything works. You can simply just go to this website. Okay, I've shared the link over here. It's kahoot.it basically. And I'll be showing you a game pin. Let me show it to you right now. Okay. So this is the game pin. You'll be asked to join. You'll be asked to enter a game pin. So just enter this number that I'm showing on the screen. And then you'll be asked for, okay, just before you guys enter, just one thing I wanted to say, that please try and either write your email ID, not the full email ID, but if you have a Gmail ID, then write sumana.pasu2001 instead of writing at gmail.com. And then, or you can write your Twitter ID so that we can contact you after the quiz. If you win it and you win some swags, then it'll be easier for us. So either write your Twitter ID or your Gmail account, or if you don't have any of them, then just write your full name and we'll ask you to contact us on Discord or something like that. Okay, Pooja, I'll repeat again. You don't need to create any account for this. Just go on this kahoot.it site. I'll share the link again and enter this game pin that you see here. And for the nickname, add either your Twitter ID or your Gmail ID, just the front part. And you can also write your full name. It'll be better if you use the email, but if you don't have it, then you can just write your full name and contact us later. Okay, I can see a lot of you are joining. We'll wait for 2 minutes or something. And till then, I'll just give you some instructions. So there'll be 5 very easy questions and you'll have 30 seconds each for every question. And your score will be based not only on the correctness, but also for the speed. So like if you are answering faster than the other person, you'll get more marks. Okay. So here is the game pin. If anyone hasn't seen it till now, just you can type this and we'll start then. Okay, just give me a thumbs up or something if you all are ready to start, or if you're still joining, just let me know if you want us to wait for a while or something. I can see a lot of people have joined already. Okay. I'll just wait for 1 more minute and then we'll start. Okay, so let's start now. I'll play some music over here as well. Okay, so that you can enjoy. Yeah. Okay, if at gmail.com doesn't fit, it's completely fine. You can just write the front part and write at. Okay. So let's start this quiz. I'll lock it now so that no more people can join. If you're joining, join in 5 seconds. All right. See you 5 more seconds. Just do it ASAP and then we'll start. Okay, let's start this quiz. I hope you all are excited. Okay, let's do this. So this is a true or false question. APIs allow services to communicate with each other. Is it true or false? I'm repeating again. APIs allow services to communicate with each other. Is that true or false? You have 30 seconds. You can answer it. Take your time. Wow, 97 people got it right. That's amazing. Okay, These are the people at the top right now. That is really cool. You did so fast. Okay. The next one is, which method is typically used to receive data from an API? Is it put, get, delete, or post? Remember how if you do it faster, you'll get more marks. So try to do it ASAP, but take your time. Don't get it wrong. You have 5 more seconds. Wow, 97 people again got it right. Well done, guys. Let's go to the next question. Okay, Tammy is still on the top, but all others have changed. Come on, guys. Okay, here's the next question. Which system supports APIs? Windows, Android, Apple, or all of the above? This is something I haven't mentioned clearly, but this is something you can understand with the growing rate of APIs. All of you guys got it correct. That is amazing. That is really cool. Okay, now Aniket is at the top. That's great. We can see all the other people as well. And 3 of you have a streak. That is really cool. Okay, let's go ahead. What is the status code in the format 5xx main? Is it server error, client error, success, redirection? I showed you a table if you can remember, and I showed you the common status codes. What does 5xx mean? That means like 500 or 502. Yes, Ayush, I have no clue how they're doing it so fast. Like I'm barely reading the question. Okay, so 82 people got it right. Guys, do it fast, but make sure you get it right as well, or else you won't be able to score points. Okay, so let's go for the next question. Okay, before that, okay, Tammy is at the top again. Great job. All right, let's go. This is the last question. Which of the following are examples of common standard headers? Is it authorization, cookie, content type, or all of the above? Try to recall what headers are, and you'll be able to answer this. 10 seconds left, guys. Again, 78 people. That's amazing. Okay, let's see who the winners are here. Okay, at third place, we have Nitya. Great job, Nitya. Second, we have Alan. And at first place, who is it? We have Aniket. Great job, guys. Well done. Okay, we also have runners up. That is Paul and Saksham. So all of you, please, whoever were the winners, the top 5 people, that is Aniket, Alan, Nitya, Paul, and Saksham, please just text your email ID in the chat so that we get it right. And we'll be shipping you a lot of swags and some good benefits as well. Okay, the correct answer for 5th question was all of the above. Authorization, content type, and cookies, all 3 are headers. Okay, great job, guys. This was really fun. And yeah, Tammy was at the first position. What happened? All right. So you can either DM it directly to Ali or Shivam over here, or you can send it to everyone if you want to share your email ID. Or you can also share your email on Discord. You can text any one of us and we'll try to ship it as fast as possible. So this was really fun, but don't go anywhere. We have a lot to do now. And let me go back. Okay, so we're done with the quiz, but we haven't completed 2 requests. And if you didn't win here, don't be sad because I have another opportunity for you to win swags, and I'll be explaining that at the end. And so for that, just stick till the end and we'll see how you can win more cool swags. Okay. So don't get disheartened. We will give you another opportunity to get something. Okay. So for now, let's go back to the Postman screen. Okay, let's be serious for a while and then we'll again go back to how you can get swags. All right. So we had done get request and post request. I hope you all are clear with that. And now we'll be going forward. We will be doing patch request. What is patch request? Patch request is updating information. All right. So let me just give me 1 second. All right. So for creating the new request, which is the patch request, we will again create a new request. How do we do that? Click on the folder here, click on the 3 dots and click add request. All right. Now we can name this anything as we will be updating information in it by using patch request. So let me write update book. All right. Now I will change the get method to patch. Patch is the 4th one right here. And let me just save it so that you can see patch over here as well. All right. So we're done with this. We have created the basic patch request. But again, you know what I'm going to say? How do I send it? I have no clue how to do this, right? So what will I do? I'll go back to the documentation. Yeah, right, Pranav. Okay, so let's scroll down a bit and I can see patch update book. Again, they've given me an entire ID, the whole URL over here. So what you can see is it is the same endpoint and then books path, which we have already done. After that, there is an ID over here. All right. So here we have to enter the ID of which book we want to change. Okay. So let's do one thing. Whatever book we had added, let's change that only. Okay. So what you can do is you can go back over here to the get request and search for your book. It'll be hard for me to search because a lot of you have used my name and author. Okay, let me use just a random one. I think this is the one I created. Okay, so you can use whatever book you have created so that it gets changed in that way only and no one else is changing yours. So you can simply search for your author or title or anything by which your book is defined. And you can simply select the ID over here. What is the difference between put and post? Post is for adding information. And once you've added, if you see that there's an error, maybe I had to write API 101 with Postman and instead I wrote just API 101, then we will be using put or patch method, which is for updating the information. All right. So let's copy this ID, whatever book yours is, just copy that one and go to the patch request. All right. Oh, before that, we have to add the endpoint and the path, right? So let's go back to the documentation and add this portion because this is just some random ID. This is not the ID of your book, right? So you will copy this entire thing, go to patch and enter the URL. Now enter the ID of your particular book so that you can change that particular book only. So I'll be using this one. Here's the ID and I'll copy it and I'll paste it over here. Okay. Now, if I want to update something, I have to tell the API what I want to update and what will be the new data that will be replaced, right? So again, how to do that? I have no clue. Go back to the documentation. Now, what you can do is you can see over here, they've first of all told you that these are the data types and like title is a string, author is a string, year published is an integer so that you know what kind of things you should enter in the data. Now they've again given you a whole sample object of how it should be and how the data should be given. So again, I'll copy this, okay? And here again, it says that you have to go to body, raw, and JSON. So I'll be doing the same thing, okay? Okay, John is asking, is it possible to do patch with path variable so that the ID is not seen in URL? See, if you don't want the ID to be shown in the URL, you can use it as header and you can pass it in different ways. But as it is a 101 session, I am not going into the details. That's why I'm showing it to you right here. Otherwise, I would have told you about authorization and all so that you can safely go through your data, right? Okay, so I've copied this entire thing. And now let's go to patch. I'll go to body, raw, and JSON. You know the drill, right? It's body, raw, JSON. Okay. Now let's paste this. Now suppose I don't want to change the checkout. Like, why do I want to change the checkout? I'll change the title only. So I can just replace this here from title. And I can write maybe APIs 101 with Postman now. Okay. Because this is what I want. I want to change my title and this is what I want it to be now. Now it's pretty simple. You've done everything. You have added the endpoint, you have added the ID, you went to body, raw, JSON and added what you want to change. All right. Now you can simply hit send. And again, you get 200 okay, which means everything was perfect. And message is also here. Okay. Okay. Now, how do you see if this actually worked? You hit save and you go back to the get request. And this time I can search, instead of my author, I can search the exact name, that was APIs 101 with Postman. Okay, and I hit send. Okay, there are a lot of people with APIs 101 with Postman as well. But yeah, I guess this one is mine. This author is Kitty. So this one is mine. So you can see everything is same. The ID is also same. If you compare this ID and the ID I've entered here, it is the same. And all the data is same except the title. The title is changed. All right. So this is how we use patch request. Now, if you wanted to use you want to change multiple things, you can either keep adding over here, just like we added the post data, or if you want to change the complete thing, like suppose you want to change entire thing over here. You want to update entire thing. All right. You cannot change the ID because it's auto-generated, but rest of the things like title, author, genre, if you want to change, then you can simply make a put request. Hold on. Okay, I'll repeat the patch again and then I'll go to put. So for patch, first of all, it is very important you change this to patch over here. Okay. And then you add the endpoint and the path, that is /books. And then you enter your ID. Make sure this is the correct ID. If you're not entering a valid ID, you won't get the access. Okay. So it should be a correct ID. If you want to check what your ID is, you can just simply use the get request and find your ID. Okay. And then go to body, raw, and JSON. And you can add anything. You make sure this format is right. If you're using string, which is title, then it should be under double quotes. All right. So you can use the documentation and see for which data type, how you have to write. For example, like in Boolean data type, you don't have to use double quotes, simply write true. In integer as well, you don't have to use double quotes. In string, you have to make sure you use double quotes. And if you hit send, then it should work perfectly. There should be no error. All right. Okay. So for put, as I was explaining for put, it is pretty similar to patch. That is why I'm not showing you the entire thing here. But what you have to do is just simply click on patch over here, this arrow, okay, and select put. And instead of this, you will have to write the entire information that you gave in post. What was that? You have to go to post request. Now you see all this is here. You have to mention all the key value pairs over here in the put request because you're changing the entire thing. All right. The record, whatever you send, will be updated and replaced in place of this one. Okay, so you have to make sure you enter all of this in the same order, and then you can change anything in the put request. Okay, so for patch, I just wanted to change one little thing. That is why I made it a patch request and entered only one key value pair. For put, I would use all the key value pairs. I have to put it in the same order and put all the key value pairs. All right, so I hope this much is clear. And yes, Alan, if you put partial data, it will create an error, and that is why you use patch instead of it. Okay, because we won't create two things exactly the same, right? Okay. For put also, it'll be exactly the same. You have to include ID, and because you have to tell which particular book you want to change. It changes a particular book, and here it changes a particular record, a key value pair inside a book. Okay, so this is put and patch. I hope put is also pretty clear. You can try it out on your own as well. Now you are done with three of the major requests, that the most basic and important ones that we use in APIs. So lastly, we'll go for the delete request, which is very easy. And I'm sure if you've got post and patch and you've understood all this, you'll be easily able to do delete. Okay. Okay. Chandra is asking, why is the response 200 and not 201? 201 is for created, when you create a new object. And how do I know this? You can just hover over this and you'll understand what this means. Okay. In a post request, you're creating a new object in the database. That is why it was 201 created. But because in this, you're just updating it and you're not adding something new. That is why it is 200. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is that. Now we'll go for the fourth request, which is the delete request. So again, you all know what you have to do. You'll go and hover over this, click on three dots and click on add request. Okay. And we'll name this as delete book because we're deleting the book. Okay. And we'll change the method. Be sure to change this because otherwise you'll get an error. Click on this arrow and click on delete. Okay. Ayush, you don't have to put any details of ID and create it as well. Whatever you have to change is whatever you added in the post. Okay, just this much: title, author, genre, and year published, because ID is auto-generated, so you don't know that. Okay, so you just have to include these parameters in post. And Deepak has done delete too. That's great. But I'll just explain for the rest of you. So you can understand that you can easily read the documentation and do it yourself as well, right? So let's go back to the documentation. This is my favorite thing. I am pretty sure you know by now. Okay. Okay. Charu is saying to wait for a while. Are you facing an error or something? You can let me know if you are. Okay, till then, we'll just go through whatever patch and put we have done till now. Patch is again for updating a particular record within a book. Okay, particular key value pair. And for put, it is for updating the entire book, all the key value pairs in the book. Okay, so I hope everything is clear now. Sovik is saying, can I use query string parameter instead using ID for post request? For post request, we aren't using ID because in post, we are creating a new object and then the ID is automatically generated. So we don't have the ID by then. Okay, so let's go to delete now and let's see how it can be done. Okay, so again, we go back to the documentation and we can see we are given a single line. Okay. So what is it? It has the endpoint as usual. It has the /books path. And then you can say something like sort of an ID. All right. So what this means is for deleting, we have to copy this entire endpoint along with the path, and then add the ID of the book we want to delete. Now, I would recommend deleting your own book and not someone else's, because then the other person will get an error. Okay. So let's go back to the delete request. Creating the request. I assume everyone is able to do it by now. Just click on this 3 dots, add request, and then change the method, hit save. All right. This is what it is. Now we can enter the URL over here that we copied. That is again the endpoint we had from the starting of this, and /books. Now for getting the ID, again, you have to go to the get request and find your ID. This one was mine. Okay. Everyone, please just use your ID or else others will face error, because if something is already deleted, there is the API won't be able to find that particular ID. And of course, you'll get an error. Okay. So I'll paste this ID over here and hit send. Okay. Did someone delete mine? Because I think the book ID is not found. Okay. So I'll just try someone else's. I'll try this one. Okay. I'm sorry, whoever's I'm deleting right now. And I'll hit send. Okay. This is also not found. Okay. Let me do one thing. I'll create another request right now. And I'll hit send, and I'll write here. Okay, I'll copy this name. And I'll paste it here. Please don't delete anyone before me. Okay, this is here. This is a valid ID, as I can see it over here. I'll go back and add the ID over here and hit send. And I get 200 OK, which means that it was successfully deleted from the database. So now if I use this same ID or maybe I'll just hit send over here with API 101 new, then I should get this book, but this book is no longer here. So I get an empty array. All right. So since it was deleted, I can't find it anymore. Okay. So I'll hit save for everything. You can see these orange dots. If you can see them, that means you have not saved the request. So keep regularly saving them. Okay. So if anyone is facing an issue of deleting the book just like me, then you can just create a new book and delete it. Okay. And don't share the ID with anyone else so that they don't delete it. All right. So this is as simple as it is, and this is how we delete a book. So as this was a very basic session, this was the beginning of your journey in API, then that is why we have just focused on the very basic things, which are the 4 main requests. That was get, post, patch, and delete. You can explore this API more by going to the documentation. There's also a mission, okay, in which you can do some new things. You can do that in the Your Turn folder, and you can check out the documentation, and whatever tasks are given, you can complete it over here just for some further practice. All right. So if you are eager to learn more, you can go to this Your Turn folder, practice a bit more, and you'll get the hang of it. Okay. Okay. Shantanu is asking why 200. Okay. I'm assuming you're asking for the delete method. So in the delete method, in any method, actually, whenever it's 200, that means whatever operation we wanted to perform was a success. So if we wanted to delete and we deleted it successfully, then we get 200. Okay. Similarly, if suppose the ID was not there, then I'll get a 404 error because the API could not find that particular ID. Okay. Ayush is saying I'm getting 405 method not allowed for put. Okay. It might be an issue that put for the put documentation, it hasn't in the API, the put method hasn't been updated yet because it's not there in the documentation, but maybe you can try it with other APIs. There are a lot of APIs. You can check out this explore page. I'll open it and show it to you. So this is the explore page of Postman. Here you can see a lot of APIs. There are a lot of APIs by famous companies and then even small APIs that we try to create, everything. Okay. So you can just go to anyone and you can view the documentation and you can try put method there. It might be that we are not able to do in this one, but you'll definitely be able to do it in other ones. Okay. So you can go to this place as well. All right. So I hope everything, okay. Same author, it should give me. Yeah. All right. So, okay. Shantanu is asking, no, when I generate a get with the same author, it should get me 400, but it's giving me 200. If you're doing a get method, then you're getting the data. All right. So whatever author you're writing, it'll search for all the books with that author and give you that. And if you're receiving that, then you'll of course get 200. And even if you have no books with that author's name, still you'll get an empty array. Okay. Because it was successfully run. The API went and fetched the data. Okay. But there was no record. So that is why it gives an empty array. Okay. So this is okay. Archana, do you want to ask something? You can simply write here. You're raising your hand. So all right. No, Shantanu, for anything in get method, okay, even if you search with ID or anything, you'll either get an empty array if the API is not able to find anything, or you'll get whatever records they're able to find. If there's an error, there might be some other error, but it won't be because the error, the particular resource was not found. Okay. All right. So this is all about the hands-on session. So thank you so much for sticking till the end. Now I'll go back to the presentation. Okay, we're done with the quiz. This is not again. So as I said, you can also try out and practice a bit more using the Your Turn folder. I'll show it to you once again. Over here, you have a Your Turn folder. You can go here. And if you check out the documentation, you will be able to understand each and everything, how to do everything. And just you can practice a bit so that it becomes clear. All right. Okay. So you can fork the collection. You have already forked the collection if you were doing the hands-on, and then you can follow the instructions in your turn. Okay, now again, as I promised, I'll tell you how you can win some amazing swags. And this is very simple, even easier than the quiz. So of course you won't believe, but let me tell you, it is very easy. Okay. So what you have to do is you can either on Twitter or LinkedIn use the hashtag Postman Student, which I've written here. You can use that and tell whatever you learned and share your experience about the workshop. Like you can share what all you learned, what you liked, what you didn't like, and use the hashtag Postman Student so that we can actually view your posts. And some lucky winners will be getting some cool swags again. And so be thorough with it. You can write really long passage so that we can notice you and we can ship you some swags. And we'll directly contact you through LinkedIn and Twitter if you're winning. So try to do it ASAP, but it's not like you have to do it right when you end this meeting. So take your time. You can do it by today or tomorrow, and then some of the lucky winners will be getting some cool swags. All right. And for the other people who didn't get swags in quiz or in the Postman Student program, we keep having these workshops, and we have workshops on other things. We have contests. If you stay on the Discord community, you'll see every Friday we'll have some competition or something like that, and you'll get a lot of chances to win some cool swags. Okay. So don't worry about this. Tomorrow there's another workshop. You can win swags in that as well. And just make sure you join the Discord community so that you keep getting to know about these opportunities. All right. So this was a pretty simple way of winning the swags, right? Okay. So I'll just explain it once more. On Twitter or LinkedIn, use the hashtag Postman Student and tell us what you felt about the workshop, what you learned, what you liked, what you disliked, everything. All right. Okay, so we have a lot of learning programs in Postman. So one thing which I personally also really like is the student expert program. It is a certification and it is a really cool way of learning, and it is not very difficult. So what it does is we have a guided tutorial in which you learn a lot of things, including authorization and everything. And at the end, you have a skill check in which you get to see if you actually learned. And if you pass that, you get a Postman Student Expert badge, which is like a certification. So you can also add it to your resume, and your resume will boost up a lot because Postman is an amazing company. It's a huge unicorn startup of India, and you'll be able to add that to your resume. So it's a huge thing. And you'll be able to learn a lot about Postman as well, how to use API. And as this was a basic session, you'll be able to learn upon that. You'll increase your knowledge in it. So I would really recommend everyone to join the Student Expert program and try it out. Okay. And if you have any doubts on it, if you're facing an issue, of course, the Discord community is always there to help. So you can simply ask there as well. One more benefit of Student Expert program is that you get a chance to become the student leader in your community. So I'll be sharing the link of the Student Expert program, and the student leader, being a student leader, I am also a student leader. You get a lot more opportunities like speaking. Recently, I spoke for a hackathon in Canada, which is like a dream come true for me. So you can also do a lot of amazing things by joining the community and helping each other out, improving API literacy. So first you have to become a student expert for that, and then you can apply for becoming a student leader as well. So here is the link. Okay, I will share this. Okay, Ali has already shared it. Okay, so this is the link for everyone. So it is free of cost. There's no charge, and you can just simply enjoy, take your time, and it is not like you have to finish it within one day. Take your time, understand the concepts, and then do the skill check. And if you pass, you'll be able to become the student expert. Okay. To be part of the community, John, anyone can be part of the community, even if you're not a student expert. You can join the Discord channel and then start working on the student expert program, and then slowly learn and then become a student expert. And after that, apply for student leader. All right. So I think this is it from my side. If you have any questions, or if I missed a lot, I know I missed a lot of questions in the beginning. So if you have any questions, just you can send it again and I'll take them up now. Okay. So I'll just go through the questions right now. Okay, Penny, I don't understand why you're saying sorry, but anyway, and thank you so much, everyone. Okay, you said please consider having a YouTube with tutorials. I will try to do that. I'll try my best. And what are the benefits from student expert leader and student expert badges? You get a lot of benefits. First of all, for the student expert program, it is a certification. So of course you get that you are certified student expert, and you can add it to your resume. You learn a lot of things, and you get a lot of opportunities as well. Postman gives you a lot of opportunities for improving yourself, working on yourself, helping the community, and you can do that. And as a student leader, of course, you will get a lot more opportunities than the student expert, and it'll be really fun. You'll have a great community for everything. Like you can ask people anything you want, you can make connections, and you can do a lot of networking there. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Deepak, yes, sure, you can leave if you want to. And we are having the networking session on Twitch right now. So if you want to network with a lot of people, then go back right there and you can have a lot of fun. We'll also be having games. So make sure you stick till that as well. Thank you so much, everyone, for the praises. Okay, I can see some. Aniket has sent a link saying, "Is this you?" Yes, this is my LinkedIn ID, Sumana Dash Vasu. For anyone who wants to connect with me.